Simmental, Maine Anjou, Charolais, Red Angus, Brahman, Brangus, and British Whites. Class 1, Cab to Honor after March 1st. We have 3 entries. First entry is 6506, Morgan Firma from Parma, Idaho.
And then we have to...
Illinois, Dale and his wife Holly have 4 kids, Dylan, Tara, Chase, and Katie. Dale went to college at Black Hawk East, has an associate's degree, and a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in ruminant nutrition from the University of Illinois.
Morgan's right behind you, headed your way.
Dale was an animal science professor and livestock judging coach at the University of Illinois and Joliet Junior College. Currently, he is the owner of Hummel Livestock and the co-host of Beyond the Ring,
So
the
it's class
educational
1
podcast.
and drive. So it's
He
class
has judged
1, so it
numerous
says 5, 5.1,
livestock shows
5.2.
across the
Point 1 and
United
point 2 are the
States and
drives.
internationally.
So that's a
Please
division.
join me
So that's
in
class
welcoming
1
Dale
and
Hummel.
division drive. If that makes sense. So that's class 5 and division drive. Sorry.
Well, welcome to the Arizona National Open Cattle Show. I'm certainly excited to be here and sort through some of these classes today. And we're starting out with our Simmental calf class. We've got 3 really nice heifers out here. We're going to leave them in the order they stand. And to me, we've got a couple in here that are really hitting us with some quality, some balance, some eye appeal. When we talk about show ring presence, I think all 3 cattle have that. I'm going to probably lean just a little more towards just a touch more body, maybe a little more substance and natural thickness than some. And this heifer that leads the class off, I really appreciate all the fundamental aspects that she brings to the ring. Then she puts some extras on there in terms of a good look, in terms of soundness of a skeleton, all positive, really nice one to start. I like the heifer in second. I think it's close here. To me, you really appreciate her extra length of neck. She's one that's pushed up enough and not dropping that chest out. She's going to hold into an older yearling very, very well. What would I change about her? She gets just a touch rigid in her pastern when she first came in. It's hard sometimes in the sand to get a good evaluation of that. But this one's reached with a tremendous amount of quality. You love her up through her front end, the extra femininity, really, really solid kind of a female. Coming into third again, just gets in a really, really tough class. If you've got enough look, you've got enough eye appeal here, I'd like to stop her up and watch her track just a little bit wider at the ground. But she's still youthful. That mature mass will essentially come into her, and I think we're going to have an excellent kind of show heifer down the road.
Class winner is Copeland and Sons with entry number 7914. Second place was entry number 7710, Chloe Stokes. And our third place was Morgan Firma. Next in the ring is our February calves. Entry number 7681, Tucker McPherson, and entry number 7689, Hayden McPherson.
that are contrasting maybe just a little bit and how they're kind and their genetic makeup. If we look at the heifer that starts the class, here's your really cool fronted one, extra long neck, really clean up there through her front end. She's smooth in her shoulder. All those things come together very, very well. I appreciate her youthful appearance. If I'm going to change her, I'd still like to see her just a little bit stouter when I get around behind her, see her hit the ground just a touch wider. But she's flexible enough in her skeleton. I believe her skeletal integrity is pretty solid. The calf in second here, I love this kind of rib shape and this kind of body. She's big top, she's wide enough in terms of her pins. I like all those things. I like to jerk that neck out just a little bit longer. And more importantly, she wants to come over just in that right rear pastern ever so slightly when we ask her to get on the move. That's where I'd want to change this one, but two very nice females.
Our class winner was entry number 7689, Hayden McPherson. And our second place was number 7681, Tucker McPherson. Next in the ring is your January calves. Calf January 2022. With entry number 5928, Ashlyn Mead. And entry number 7682, Amanda McPherson. After this class, we will have the Junior Heifer Calf Champion. So the first and seconds, please be ready to come back to the ring.
We've got a pair of heifers out here that, once again, not a lot of numbers in these classes, but certainly some quality to them. The female that starts this class, to me, I appreciate her at the ground. She's probably the most flexible we've seen here, both front and rear pasterns. She has some flexibility. That rear hock, some may say she's a little soft in those rear pasterns. I'm okay with it out here in the sand and evaluating what I see, and it really allows her to get around this ring with ease and not much effort from point A to B. Let's study her on the profile. She's beautiful up through her front end. She comes into a big center body. Get behind her, I think she's opened up enough in her pins. She's big enough in terms of her top. She really balances nicely and puts a lot of those positive characteristics together into one neat, clean, attractive kind of a package. Exceptionally long-bodied female here in second. You got to appreciate the extra length of skeleton. She's long up through her front end. She maybe comes across a little frailer out here today. I think that's more about just not having as much leg hair on her. Where I change this one, you're going to hear this a lot, is I want to see her just a little more correct in terms of how she flexes out of that rear hock and pastern and see her get out and go with more ease of movement.
And the results from this class: first place, entry number 5928, Ashlyn Need. Second place, entry number 7682, Amanda McPherson. The next class will be the Junior Heifer Calf Champion, first and seconds. Please make your way back to the ring. Second place in class 1, entry 7710, Chloe Stokes. From Class 2, our first place winner, entry number 7689, Hayden McPherson. Our second place winner, entry number 7681, from Class 2, Tucker McPherson. Class 3, our class winner was entry number 5928, Ashlyn Neeb. And our second place winner in Class 3 was entry number 7682, Amanda McPherson. After this class will be the early senior heifer calves. Please be ringside.
It's interesting as we bring these class winners back out in our second class as our three here on the end. I think we've got a really solid set, and we can put genetics together with this kind of quality. That's impressive because it's hard. It's really difficult to breed cattle like this. Just as difficult to feed, manage, and present them in the manner that they're being presented. I've taught these already in class. We're going to run through these class winners just one more time because I think there are some differences that maybe we need to talk about. The calf up at the front of the line the gentleman has there, this is obviously the young calf out here, super youthful. I think quality maybe best describes that, just that term in itself, the way she ties together so smoothly from her shoulder back into her hip, and she comes down to the ground with some skeletal flexibility and some good in her. The heifer out of the second class, this one's got a tremendous amount of growth and performance. You want to talk about frame size, putting on pounds. I think she's going to do all those things and do them extremely well. To me, maybe just a little bit flatter sided compared to those on either side of her. And that's being very particular because I think she's got an awful lot of good in her, an awful lot of performance in her. The calf that came out of class 3, as we talked about, I love how she sets down at the ground in terms of some flexibility. I think she's got a tremendous amount of center body to her and natural thickness. Maybe just a little more mature, obviously, than the calf up at the front of the line. Maybe not quite as freaky up there through her neck, but three really good cattle. And we drop into our seconds. I think especially out of class 1, here's one that again that follows that similar kind of quality. We talked about a posture on an animal. This one really holds herself very nicely. We drop down to the young man here. We talked about this one. We want to fix just a little on that hind leg, but still has some center body, some depth, some capacity to her. And likewise, when we come down to the end, a lot of growth, a lot of performance. Maybe just want to change them in terms of their skeleton ever so slightly. Excellent set of cattle. I'm going to go out and select our champion and reserve calf. As I do so, let's please put our hands together if you would.
Congratulations to our junior heifer calf champion, entry number 7914, Copeland and Sons. Our junior heifer calf reserve champion is entry number 5928, Ashlyn Neeb. Next, we will have our early senior heifer calves. There is one class. So this will be not only the class itself, but the senior heifer calf champion and reserve.
Division. This is going to be our champion and reserve, and we're going to go ahead and talk about these two animals in no particular order, and then I'll go and shake the hand of our champion followed by our reserve. We have two cattle out here that I think you can make a case for, and certainly talk about the differences between them. It becomes a matter of priorities where you're going to land. I like a lot of things about both of them in terms of their center body. I think they're both acceptable in terms of where they're at and their natural thickness. And I'm going to use the word muscle and muscling in heifers, and I'm not afraid to. When we think about our end product in this beef industry, that's kind of where we're at. So let's not be afraid to talk a little bit of that in our females and breeding females. We don't need an abundance. We don't need to get crazy with it, but we certainly don't need to look like dairy cattle either. The heifer at the front of the line. Here's one that really balances up nicely. You want to talk about ring presence, and one that hits the ground, I think, with some security and some agility. I think she does it extremely well. She's not very cooperative, but when she gets this one parked with that head up, she balances extremely well. She's really flawless from her shoulder back into her top line and back into that hip. We blend very naturally, very smoothly. I appreciate all those things. Let's come back to our solid black heifer. Here's one that's tremendous body and size and mass in terms of just looking at that profile. Here's a brood cow that's grown and performed extremely, extremely well. I get behind her. I think there's an acceptable amount of substance and natural thickness. When we ask her to get into motion, she's probably just a little bit tighter out of that hip, maybe a little less coordinated off of her hind leg than the heifer that we have out here. Two excellent females. As I present our champion and reserve, let's put our hands together, if you would, please.
Congratulations, our champion senior heifer calf belongs to entry 7804, Caden Offalter. And our reserve champion senior heifer calf is shown by entry 7491, Addie Owensby. Congratulations.
Champion Simmental female. Yeah, I know it's hard to understand when you're ringside unless you're in these trenches and working with the cattle every day, just how difficult it is to make cattle that look like this. And I talk about a lot, let's make them fundamentally correct. Let's make sure their skeleton's good, make sure those joints actually flex and move like Mother Nature intended, and how they hit the ground with less effort to get from point A to B. Let's put some body capacity in them, let's put some muscle in them. All of those things are what I consider just the fundamentals. Once we have that in place, let's jerk that neck up out of them, let's give them some show ring look and appearance and present them as professionally and as cool as we possibly can. And when they come into that ring, some of them just hit you as show cattle or show animals or show livestock. They have that presence about them that's awfully hard to actually come up with and get to that point. These cattle do these things very well from a fundamental basis. I think we cover ourselves really well. Are there some that maybe have those extra bells and whistles on them? I believe so, and I've already talked these enough. I'll go ahead and select our champion reserve. As I do so, once again, please put your hands together if you would.
What are we calling this? Just champion bull drive. Champion bull drive. For the main engine. So champion bull drive. Okay, so let me go back over Simi.
Female is exhibited by Copeland and Sons with entry number 7914. The reserve champion female is entry number 5928. Ashlyn Need, congratulations.
last year. Not to take anything away from our single entries, and I know we talk about that all the time. This would be the same competition. Let's just describe the cattle that we have out in front of us in terms of, here's a rugged made, big-footed kind of bull that's put together, that's loose enough in terms of his skeleton to be able to get around the ring. I think has acceptable degree of muscle. I don't think he presents any issues that we need to worry about, and actually covers those fundamentals extremely well. I congratulate this young lady. Let's put our hands together for our champion Simmental bull, if you would, please.
Junior bull calf champion and the overall champion bull for the Simmental breed belongs to entry number 6511, Morgan Firma from Parma, Idaho. Congratulations, Simmental breeders. we've got entry number 5214, Catherine Hesh from Queen Creek, Arizona. She's exhibiting her junior heifer calf, born in May of 2022. And we also have our junior yearling heifer exhibited by Savannah Bricker, entry number 7886 from Portales, New Mexico. Your junior heifer calf will be your junior heifer calf champion, and your junior yearling will be your junior champion female. And we will also choose the champion and reserve main on Jew heifer.
Heifer division here. Both of these females are technically going to win their independent classes and their division, so we're essentially out here for our champion and reserve drive. These heifers are very unique. There's so much good that I think we need to just take a moment and appreciate it and talk about that. I'll start in no particular order with the young lady up in the front. Here's a calf that's so obviously immature still. But let's read what we can read in cattle this age, and that's skeletal quality, that's balance, that's look, that's a lot of things that we can put together. Do we know where she's going to be in terms of her in mass and just how much she's going to have to her? I'm not real sure, but it looks like she's wide enough in her pin set to me. She has enough dimension in terms of her top. And I'll tell you what, if I just stop and say, okay, let's talk about a real arrogant kind of a ring presence and a front-ended one. Look where this neck ties into that shoulder and how high she comes out of that shoulder. That's just incredible up through that front end. And I still think she's good in terms of her curvature down to her knee and down to the pastern. A lot of times when we put that neck up that high in the shoulder, we'll get a little straighter in the front end, and that's not something we necessarily want. This one kind of defies Mother Nature just a little bit there, and I appreciate that. She's good in her line. She's good in terms of her center body. Some may say she's a touch longer pastern. I think she's fine. She's real flexible in terms of those pasterns. And I get a little particular about these feet and legs and the skeletal build and how they get around the ring. It's no question it's going to be easier for a calf with this size and weight to get around the ring with less effort than say what we have out here in our older, more mature female. The mature mass that this young lady brings in the older female right here in front of me is incredible. She's powerful in terms of her dimension of top, her extra width out here through her pins. And you get behind her, and again, I'm not afraid to say it, she has muscle. And I don't think she has too much, but I appreciate the amount of natural thickness she brings to us and how she carries that down to the ground and has some width of base and width of travel. I really, really appreciate the volume, all those things. Is she maybe as attractive as a little calf up in that neck and head? I don't know that you can make one much more attractive than calf, but she's acceptable. She gets just a touch straighter maybe in her shoulder and just a touch straighter there in the rear hop. And that's being very, very critical on a heifer that's awfully good. And I lean towards that mass and that volume and that natural thickness every single day and appreciate that cowing look that she presents us. Two exceptional kind of females. I'll go ahead and shake the hand of our champion and then reserve. With that said, let's put our hands together and congratulate these two exhibitors, please.
Your champion main Anjou heifer goes to entry number 5214, Catherine Hushy from Queen Creek, Arizona. Your reserve champion heifer is entry number 7886, Savannah Bricker from Portales, New Mexico. Congratulations. Number 3898 and belongs to Amanda Arledge from Tracy, California. Champion, as well as your champion main Anjou bull. They're both shown and exhibited by Amanda Arledge.
As we bring our cow calf pair out here and our junior bull calf, we're going to talk about them too as a pair and then just a little bit individually. But I tell you what, when I should say, think about what a cow should look like and that brood cow look and appearance with some show ring appeal. Wow, does she do it? She does it really, really well. This thing is so big bodied, so massive when you get up on her, yet she's smooth enough in terms of how she's constructed through her shoulder. She's good in terms of her neck. I think she's good in terms of her angles. We go from the point of her shoulder down to her knee and past her. We have some curvature. We get back into that hip, and she's so wide and so dimensional from her hooks to her pins. You get right behind her, that extra width and how opened up she is at her pins, yet lays that tail head in pretty neat. There's a lot of good in that particular female. Let's look at her udder quality. I think we're good there. Look at the calf. There's evidence right there that she's doing a good job. He has a lot of pounds to him. He's got a lot of weight. He's got a lot of grow to him. He's rugged in terms of his makeup. He has some muscular expression to him. We love all those things about this particular pair, and I'll tell you what, that cow is impressive in so many angles, doing a great job raising this bull calf. I appreciate when we can bring cow-calf pairs out here. A lot of times you don't see that many of them, but when you can bring them out of this quality, I just keep dragging them year after year because she's doing a phenomenal job. With that said, they're our champion cow-calf pair, champion bull, all of the above. Let's go ahead and put our hands together, if you would, please.
Your champion main Anjou cow-calf pair belongs to 3898, Amanda Arledge from Tracy, California. The junior bull calf champion and overall breed champion for the main Anjou bulls also belongs to Amanda Arledge from Tracy, California. Congratulations. We are going straight into the Charlet show.
evaluate them as individuals, and then in no particular order, and then I'll go out and take the hand of the reserve. But we have two out here that we can make a case for, and we can talk about those differences, and then just decide where are my priorities and what direct maybe fits me best in our environment. There's so many different things that make up what a specific judge is going to lean towards. Let's talk about the young man that are in the back. We want to talk about one that's also feminine up to his shoulder, up to her head, all those feminine characteristics are there. He's got more frames, he's got more probably long-term potential growth in terms of where she's at on that growth curve right now. And I appreciate all those things. She's good looking. Does she have quite as much mass and body maybe as the one they have in front? I don't think so, but I think she's acceptable in that area. And as we get older, that with maturity, we can come to the substance and that mature max that we talked about. And like where the young ladies have to is right now. For some, maybe just a bit more mature up to the front end than I feel at this age, but I'm not at all concerned about it. I actually appreciate the moderation of frame, the extra dimension there to that center rib. She comes back with some muscle into that into that hip and gets right behind her, and she carries it pretty wide from the pins down to her hits the ground and her rear legs and her feet. All real positive, two tremendous individuals out here. Let's go ahead and put our hands together and do it for you.
And your reserve upper half champion is Hunter Hess. Next in the ring is our early summer yearling heifer class. Enter 7650, Jonah Ayers. This will also be your immediate
And we're just going to talk about this one as an individual. I think what hits me the hardest is that blue cow look and that center body that she has. Yet we still have a really huge shoulder. Look at where the point of her shoulder is and how she's constructed and lays that in so neat and clean. I think she's good in terms of her curvature for a knee and passing up front. I'm not maybe as excited when I get around behind her. She's not quite as sure about where she's going to set that hind leg. And I think part of it is she's just a little higher strung, a little hesitant, but she gets out here and doesn't want to go out with that ease of movement that I really like. In terms of substance and volume, and really good in terms of her shoulder and her build up to the front two-thirds of her body, all those things very positive. Let's give this young lady a round of applause, if you would, please.
first place in the class to our intermediate female champion, long standing number 7650, Jonah Ayers. Now in the ring, your overall champion and reserve champion, Charlotte Hampers.
to me, I guess as I thought about it when they were coming back in, it was fairly simple. But when this young lady's heifer decides to settle down and calm down and relax and not be so tense, she really gets parked and has a really, really good look to her. And still not maybe as comfortable where she's at in those hind legs as maybe the younger calf out here. But I think she's got so many good things to her that you really, really need to appreciate some of those positives. With that said, the calf comes in here behind her, and I think certainly sound enough. We've got some muscle there in terms of natural thickness and top. All those things go in the right direction. I don't know that you can make a case going either direction with these two. And the one that's up front here, when she's eased up just a little bit, I can't tell you how much that changes her look, her dynamic. She still wants to go those hocks in just a little bit. Two outstanding individuals. I'll go ahead and shake the hand of our champion and then her reserve.
Female is entry number 7947 for Hunter Hess. The reserve champion goes to John Myers for 7650. Our entry is 7916, Lauren Brown from Strathmore, California. She has a late senior bull calf, have between November and December of 2021. This will be your senior bull calf champion as well. Short break to take the Nina June and the Charlotte backdrop photos in the ag building right after this class.
In our second Olympic competition, he's going to be in Charlotte local. Let's think about the Charlotte breed and visually speaking, they're doing so much muscularity and muscle shape, some ruggedness to the cattle industry, and I think this one still holds some of those characteristics. Good enough up to his front end, he's good in how he's constructed to his shoulder. I appreciate the flexibility to his past. He has that muscular shape that we expect at this particular age. So a lot of positives going in the right direction. Let's put our hands together for this young man.
Charlotte Bull, belongs to entry number 7916, Lauren Brown from Strathmore, California. Congratulations. Our first class is the junior heifer calf class. We have honor after March 1st. We have a single entry that is entry number 7696, Corey Schaefer from Woodson, Texas. Just to introduce our judge again, our open cattle judge is Mr. Dale Hummel. He's from Avery, Illinois. He and his wife Holly have 4 kids, Dylan, Tara, Chase, and Katie. Mr. Hummel went to school at Black Hawk East, where he got his associate's degree, and then to the University of Illinois, where he received his bachelor's degrees and his master's degree in ruminant nutrition. Mr. Hummel has worked as an animal science professor and livestock judging coach at the University of Illinois and Joliet Junior College. He is currently the owner of Hummel Livestock and the co-host of the famous Beyond the Ring educational podcast. He has judged numerous livestock shows across the United States and internationally. Help me to welcome Dale Hummel. Heifer Calf Champion and Reserve.
Out here for this particular breeder, the Red Angus, and I appreciate a lot of things in both of them in no particular order. Let's look at this one in the second lineup and study that shoulder and that front end and how that neck ties in, and really a neat look up through there. And I appreciate the top line. We go back into a pretty level kind of a hip. Tail head's laid in there. So if we just break her down from front to rear, all those things are right. Where I get a little concerned is we get down into that rear leg and that top down, and we want to come over just a little bit, and that pasture maybe a little more rigid in that pasture, which doesn't allow her to take that really long, fluent, confident kind of a stride. Let's pop up here to the one up in the front of the line. Here's one that gives you maybe a real cowy kind of look. She's not quite as clean and cool right there in terms of her neck, but I think she's acceptable there. I think she's really good in terms of how she's constructed into her shoulder assembly. She's a big centered kind of a female. And I particularly like her feet and legs and her flexibility to her joints. I think 2 excellent females. I'll shake the hand of our champion and reserve. With that, let's give them a nice hand, please.
Congratulations to entry number 7696, Corey Schaefer from Woodson, Texas, on his junior heifer calf champion. And to reserve goes to entry number 7634, Gunnar Perry from Muleshoe, Texas. Congratulations. Our next class is the early summer yearling heifer class. This is also your intermediate female champion class. We have a single exhibitor, number 7633, Gunnar Perry from Muleshoe, Texas.
when we talk about the Red Angus breed and Angus cattle in general, we think maternal, we think body, we think function and longevity. All those things I think represent, come to play in this particular female in terms of our visual impressions or visual indicators that we tie to those particular traits. She's good up to her front end, she's deep in terms of her center body, she has some rib shape, she has some natural thickness. I think she's acceptable in terms of where her movement is, all the things that kind of go in the right direction. And it's hard to make cows that look like this. Let's put our hands together and congratulate her, please.
Class are entry number 7696. That's Corey Schaefer from Woodson, Texas. And entry number 7633, Gunnar Perry from Muleshoe, Texas.
Females back together out here. We can be a little more critical and kind of pick apart the differences that we have here. Let's talk about the differences. And what I see in this calf up front is I see a little better angulation in terms of where she's at the point of her shoulder, down through that knee and front foot. I think she's just a touch looser in her top. I think where she's at in terms of maturity, she has an equal amount of body and capacity and those type of things that we want to see in terms of our dimension and maternal volume. We get around behind her, and I think she's obviously much younger. She's not maybe opened up quite as much into her pin set, and she wants to bring her hocks in ever so slightly when parked and on the move. I still think real acceptable. That's being very critical on that particular individual. Let's study this one here, and we talked so many positives. She's so massive. She's so big top. We really, really appreciate those things. With that, she wants to get just a little bit tighter back there into her loin or her top line, ever so slightly, maybe comes over just ever so slightly up there in her front shoulder, but awfully good. I think two tremendous females. We can certainly justify going either direction here. I'll go ahead and shake the hand of our champion. Let's put our hands together, please.
Is entry number 7633. She belongs to Gunnar Perry from Muleshoe, Texas. Our reserve champion, Red Angus female, belongs to entry number 7696. That's Corey Schaefer from Woodson, Texas. Next class we have is our cow-calf pair. The cow is 3 years of age or younger. Our entry is entry number 2439. Lindley Johnson from Happy, Texas. She is also your grand champion cow calf. We have our bull class. Our junior yearling bull is the next class, between March and April of 2021. Our entry is 7697, Corey Schaefer from Woodson, Texas.
North Dakota.
Also going to be your junior champion bull and your champion red Angus bull.
To be a little history on what I've been doing the past few years is trying to get into the Angus breed and both the blacks and reds, and I brought some cattle up or embryos from Argentina into the United States and working on that project right now. And I get a chance to look at a lot of red cattle more so outside of this country than here. But I'll tell you what, to find one that has that head and neck, or that neck coming out of the shoulder where this one does, in terms of that incredible look up there, that cocky appearance. And then you get down into that shoulder construction. He's bold, he's massive, yet he's laid in real correct. And what I really appreciate, when you ask this one to go, he picks up that foot and puts it back that fast, and it's I really, really like that kind of thing. He's moving up in terms of his skeleton and his top line. He's getting to his hip. He's accepting. This is how a red Angus bull needs to look. I certainly congratulate this young man. Let's put our hands together, if you would, please.
Again, our junior yearling bull is the junior champion bull, as well as the champion Angus, red Angus bull. Entry number 7697, Corey Schaefer from Woodson, Texas. Congratulations again.
We're gonna go at
Go ahead and start with our Brahma show. Class held in February of 2022. Entry number 2015, Brock Sarwell from Campbellton, Texas. Your junior heifer calf champion.
this calf out here. She's going to be our junior calf champion in the Brahman breed. And I think she's got a lot of good in her. And again, I'm one to want to talk about flexibility of skeleton. And I watch how she picks that front knee and foot up and sets down. All those things are good. She's strong enough in terms of her top line. And good when you get around behind her. She has some substance and some muscle for this stage of the game. I think just about right where she needs to be. I project her maturing with just more mass and just an incredible kind of a group female.
To Brock Startwell on his junior heifer calf champion. The next class is our late senior heifer calf class with a single entry from 75-55, Taylor Rowland from Peralta, New Mexico. She will also be your senior heifer calf champion.
Female out here that we appreciate, and she's our single entry in our senior calf. She's going to be our champion. She's got some good in her. She's feminine enough in terms of her body type. I think she's extra long body. She's good in terms of how she puts everything together and blends to rear. I might want to open her up just a little bit more into that rib, and I think this is something that will probably come with maturity. Really, really nice single entry. Let's put our hands together for this young lady, please.
Taylor Rowland on her senior heifer calf champion. The next class we have is the junior yearling heifers, between March and April of 2021. Single entry is entry number 6271, Riley Miller from Roswell, New Mexico. She will also be our junior champion female.
Here, this one probably partially due to maturity and age, but she brings us just a little more substance, a little more to her in terms of natural dimension from front to rear. She's opened up just a bit more in that forehead. I appreciate that. I think she comes back into a good top line, flexible enough about her spine, and really acceptable kind of a hip in there. We ask her to go, I think she flexes good through her knee and paskins and has that function to her skeleton that we appreciate. Let's give her a nice round of applause, please.
To Riley Miller from Roswell, New Mexico, with her junior yearling heifer, junior champion female. Next in class is our late senior yearling heifers, calved between November and December of 2020. We have a single entry. Entry number 5454, Shelby Prenevost from Surprise, Arizona. We'll also have our early senior yearling heifer, entry number 2014, from Brock Startwell.
essentially selecting our senior yearling champion Brahman female, and I think we've got some differences between these two cattle. And again, in no particular order, let's talk about the young ladies up front. Here's a really unique kind of a female that's got some extra extension to her. She's long enough up through her front end. She's one that I think is acceptable in terms of her feet and legs and skeletal build. Where would you change her? I'd like to drop her just a bit in her center body and flank. Maybe a little more like the heifer that we have in the second in the lineup here with this young man showing. This one's just overwhelming in terms of body and substance. And when you ask this one to get out and go, she's so flexible in terms of not only the pastern, but she's good in her knee and hock as well. She's loose in terms of her skeleton, and that allows her to just get out and move with ease. You get up on her, and she's so wide in her pin set. She carries that down with some extra width at the ground for a Brahman female to get out and go. I like both of these a great deal. Let's go ahead and put our hands together, and I'll select our champion in reserve.
Entry number 2014 from Brock Sartwell of Campbellton, Texas is your senior champion female. And entry number 5454 is your senior reserve champion female, shown by Shelby Prenovo. We have entry number 2015, shown by Brock Sartwell. We have entry number 7555, shown by Taylor Rowland. We have entry number 6271 from Riley Miller. We have entry number 2014 from Brock Sartwell. And we have entry number 5454 from Shelby Prenovo.
Our champion and reserve champion Brahman females. There's a couple out here that hit me pretty hard, and there's one that just comes to you with so much substance and flexibility and those fundamentals that we all talk about, and sometimes we have to do a little bit of pretending in the show ring, but in all reality, there's one out here that does it. When I say that, we talked about it earlier, the skeleton, the feet and legs, the flexibility, the ease of movement, all of those things, and then let's put some body and some muscle in them, and then try to put those extra bells and whistles in terms of show ring appearance. But that's after we hit all of those categories that we talk about that we need to use to make them fundamentally good. There's two of them out here that do that exceptionally well. With that said, I'll shake the hand of our champion and then follow into our reserve. Let's please give them a big round of applause.
Yes. Yeah.
2014 Brock Sartwell is our champion Brahman heifer. And 2015, also shown by Brock Sartwell, is your reserve champion female Brahman heifer. Congratulations, Brahman exhibitors. Bull show. We have an entry in a junior bull calf class. Entry number 2017, shown by Brock Sartwell. He will be your junior bull calf champion, as well as your breed champion bull.
Our Brahmin bull division here, and obviously a younger calf that we have out here. But I think you can appreciate from a skeletal build standpoint, certainly a flexible enough skeleton to get out there and travel and get along very well. As he matures, we just hope that he continues to stocken up and just gets more mature mass to him. Excellent individual for our champion Brahmin. Bull, let's go ahead and put our hands together one more time.
Congratulations to Brock Sarbo with entry number 2017. He is your Brahmin Junior Bull Calf Champion and your overall breed champion. We're going to go ahead and start with our Brangus division. In our first class, we have 2 entries. Entry number 7918, Hannah Lavender, and entry number 7924, Bailey Lavender. Both are from Melrose, New Mexico. This will also be your junior heifer calf champion and reserve champion.
Brangus, we're in our junior calf entries here. We're going to have our champion and reserve out here. Let's just talk about these two, and again in no order, and I'll shake the hand of the champion and reserve. The young lady up front, she's a really long-bodied, elegant kind of a female, especially up to her front end. She's probably the one that's just a touch cleaner there. She's really good in terms of her lines. Maybe not quite as much body, maybe not quite as style. It's a heifer that we have second line up here. In this heifer, if we just stop and say, what it takes you the hardest about it, to me, it's that center body, it's that extra volume, it's that extra mass when you get from behind her that I really, really appreciate. I think she's awfully good in a lot of areas. Let's put our hands together for our champion reserve, please.
Congratulations to our junior heifer calf champion, entry number 7918, Hannah Lavender from Melrose, New Mexico. Congratulations to our reserve champion heifer, entry number 7924, Bailey Lavender from Melrose, New Mexico. Next in the ring will be our late summer yearling heifer. She is entry number 2433, owned by C.W. Johnson from Happy, Texas. She will also be our intermediate female champion.
Our champion in our new division. This one really comes to us with that movement. When you ask her to go, if you watch her at the ground, everything's correct in terms of her placement of her knee and aspirin, how she sets that front foot down. You move up into her shoulder, and she's constructed and put together extremely well. Extra long body, extra long hip, and you're not disappointed when you get to that rear leg. And there's so many problems that we have in some of our
I think so too.
in our showroom for these rear legs that don't flex and go, and she does all of those. She does it extremely well. Let's put our hands together and congratulate this young man.
Congratulations to C.W. Johnson from Happy, Texas, with his entry number 2433. She is our intermediate female champion.
This particular female.
Everybody loves
Correct.
Jimmy.
And we are drawn to certain things, and sometimes the most positive.
Everybody loves
This
you
one,
too.
no question, and this
You're
one
so
gets the
nice.
ring. So yeah, she's got a nice look. All of a sudden, I'm drawn to those just how
Especially
big
all
foot
these
and how
little
big
T-Popper girlies around here.
bone
They
she
all
is,
love
and
you.
just stout made in terms of her feature. And I appreciate that. Usually with that, you get a real coarse shoulder, and you're making put together extremely well, but this one defies that and does all of those things in a very nice kind of a package. I appreciate the shoulder, I appreciate the foot size, I appreciate the extra body and natural thickness we get around behind this one. She really exemplifies some of those fundamentals that we talk about and where the breed wants to be. Congratulations, young lady.
Placing first in her class, and she's also our senior champion female. Next in the ring is our champion and reserve female, Brangus Heifer. We want to welcome the family of Alex Tees to the Brangus Show. It is the Alex Tees Brangus Show. Thank you very much, Team family.
talk about our division champions out here because it's interesting to bring them all out here together and take apart some positive and negative. We'll start at the front of the line here. And this young lady, we talked about the extra body at this particular stage of development. We talked about how big she is in terms of her top and her upper hip. And I still love all those things. She still gets around on her feet extremely well. Maybe not quite as clean fronted as some of them out here, but I think real acceptable. And I personally don't have a problem with that because I don't believe, in my mind, it's almost a positive when it comes to performance, durability. She's one that I have a lot of hope for, that she's going to stay moderate in terms of her size and low maintenance and some of those things that we need cattle to do, especially where we're at in terms of beef prices. We need cattle that can get out there and convert forage into body weight and body condition into pounds of calf. And hopefully, I know we're projecting a lot here, but she's one that can maybe do that very, very well. We talked about the young man stepper. This one is that super long body ones. We really like how she flexes and moves and how sound she is in terms of her feet and legs. We still like all those things. Relatively speaking, we can even go on either side of her. So we want to open her up just a little bit, make her a little bolder in that rib and see more muscle when we get behind her, so she'll track just a touch wider when she hits the ground. We do, but I think she's still acceptable there. She's got so many things going the right direction in terms of how feminine she looks and smooth she is in terms of blending from front to rear. But the heifer on the end, coming out of her older division, here's just a lot of mass. She's big tops, she's big ended, she's big body. Huge footed, still ties everything together real nice. So I think just a lot of those fundamentals that we really have to appreciate and admire in a particular female. So 3 quality Brangus females. I'll go ahead and select our champion reserve. Let's give them a round of applause, please.
Our champion is entry number 7926, Bailey Lavender from Melrose, New Mexico. And our reserve is C.W. Johnson from Happy, Texas. Congratulations all. And this concludes the heifer show. We have a junior yearling bull exhibited by Bailey Lavender from Melrose, New Mexico, entry number 7922.
Particular goal. Let's go ahead and give this young lady a nice round of applause.
From Melrose, New Mexico, with her junior champion bull and overall breed champion Brangus bull. This concludes the Alex D's Brangus show.
I think tomorrow is the deer show.